Nonprofits often believe that they cannot lobby. Occasionally, I'll hear from a board member that nonprofits educate. Well, if it's in air quotes, then you know you're lobbying, but rest assured, it's legal. How do I know? That's easy. Congress told us so. In 1934, Congress passed a law that went into the IRS code. It said that nonprofits can absolutely lobby. It just has to be an insubstantial part of what they do. Well, you may be asking yourself, what's insubstantial? When asked, some people guess insubstantial is 3%, 5%, or 10% of your budget. But in reality, we don't know because Congress didn't define it. And the insubstantial part test includes activities as well as expenses. So all those volunteers that you get to go to a lobby day, those count towards insubstantial. A better law came in 1976 when Congress created a new way for nonprofits to measure their lobbying limit by setting specific percentages of the organization's budget that can be spent on lobbying. There are 4 percentages applied to each $500,000 segment of your budget. And nothing else counts. No volunteers, no free activities, just expenses, including staff time. But don't worry, if math isn't your thing, there are online spreadsheets that'll help you figure out your lobbying limit. But how do you know if you lobbied and how much is too much lobbying? When you elect the 501H, you get a very clear definition of lobbying. If you stay in the insubstantial part test, the lobbying definition is much more vague. The insubstantial part test has no exclusions identified in the law that created it. If you elect the 501H, there are 5 very specific exclusions that nonprofits do not have to include when figuring out their lobbying expenses. It's hard to determine what your lobbying limit is under the insubstantial part test because it includes activities like volunteer lobby days as well as money spent. A 1952 federal court decision found that 5% of an organization's expenses and activities were insubstantial. The 501H election limits only the money you spent. You can grow an army of volunteer lobbyists for your organization, and it doesn't count towards your limit. If you are lobbying under the insubstantial part test, and you were found to have done substantial lobbying, you could lose your 501c3 that year. If you elect the 501H, you would have to go over your lobbying limit by an average of 150% for 4 years before your tax status could be revoked. So what should you do? The Council of Nonprofits say lobbying under the 501H expenditures test is easier and safer. It's easier because you get clear definitions, you don't have to include activities like volunteers, and there's a simpler part of your federal 990 for you to record your lobbying expenses. It's safer because you get clear percentages to figure out your lobbying limit, and you're less likely to lose your tax-exempt status. And guess what else? If you lobby under the insubstantial part test, your individual board members and directors could be personally fined. You heard me right, and directors and officers' liability insurance does not cover that. File the 501H and there's no individual liability. It's like personal insurance for the price of a stamp. So you have a choice. Do you want to drive down the freeway and only the police know what the speed limit is? And if they pull you over and tell you you've gone over the speed limit that only they know, they not only fine you, they take your car. So if you go over the insubstantial limit, which only they know, you get fined and they take your nonprofit. Or do you want to drive down the freeway and both you and the police know what the speed limit is? And even if you go over the speed limit, they say, you know what, it's okay, keep going for another couple of years. The choice seems pretty clear. Filing the 501H election is easy. Fill out a half a sheet of paper, sign it, copy it, and send it in. And then lobby, lobby, lobby. As this study shows, nonprofits that combine services and advocacy are the strongest nonprofits. Find your voice, lobby safely, and if you have any questions, get in touch.